Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. In this program today, we will be discussing the performance of Defense Research and Development Organization, which has been facing criticism. For long, the Defense Research and Development Organization, or DRDO, which comes under the Ministry of Defense, has been under attack over its performance. It is sometimes described as a white elephant, as critics say huge funds are given to it, but these are disproportionate to its performance. Some time back, a parliamentary committee was so upset over DRDO's performance that it said that, quote unquote, delays in completion of projects is a part and parcel of DRDO's functioning. But while it has been facing criticism, the DRDO has displayed successes too in the form of projects like the missile program. Today in the agenda, we will discuss all these issues with someone who has been DRDO's public face for several years. We have with us Mr. Ravi Kumar Gupta, former Director Public Interface, who will tell us whether the criticism is justified or not. Let me point out here that we are holding the discussion on the 5th death anniversary of former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who headed the DRDO and spearheaded its integrated missile development program. But before we start the discussion, let us have a look at this brief report.
The Defense Research and Development Organization, or DRDO, is the key organization mandated to develop military hardware for the Indian Armed Forces. It is an arm of the Ministry of Defense and has been involved in a large number of important projects. Its area of research is wide and encompasses everything from juices to nuclear missiles. Its missiles program has been a major success and has enhanced India's stature among the world powers, as we have developed even an intercontinental missile which can hit targets as far as 5,000 kilometers. The DRDO's anti-satellite missile has been a success. However, a number of key projects of DRDO have got delayed, for which the organization is often criticized. Some even call it a white elephant, saying that it gets huge amounts of money but the performance does not match that. A high-level committee appointed by the Ministry of Defense when late Manohar Parrikar was Defense Minister has suggested a major overhaul of DRDO. Some of the important projects delayed are Light Combat Aircraft, Astra Air-to-Air Missile, Arjun Main Battle Tank, Ballistic Missile Defense and Nag Anti-Tank Guided Missile. It has been accused of wasting time and precious resources, being engaged in research and development of technique for detection of pesticides in fruits, technology for dengue control, dental implants, foldable stretchers and berry juice. Critics say that because of delay in projects, India is compelled to rely on imports as far as the military assets are concerned. Now, since the government is laying ample thrust on indigenization, it is to be seen if it pays additional attention to making the DRDO a more robust organization that can meet most of the requirements of the country's armed forces. Bureau Report.
Let's welcome our special guest today, Mr. Ravi Kumar Gupta. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. Namaskar.
So let me begin by asking you, there is criticism about DRDO's performance. How do you see it, since you have been associated with DRDO for so long?
I would say criticism against DRDO right from the beginning has been very unfair. And one reason is that because the critics try to project the image of DRDO in isolation, which is absolutely wrong. DRDO is a part and parcel of the Ministry of Defense. The other stakeholders, the most important one is the our armed forces. They are the users. As far as DRDO is concerned, our role is limited to design and development of the system based on the requirements projected by the service. We cannot start a big project of our own. We have to depend upon the requirements that are projected by the DRDO, by the service. Now the third part is who will manufacture it once something is developed. We are constrained to give the technology to our defense sector PSUs or ordnance sector, over which we have no control at all. If in fact after years and years of testing, it has been inducted. As an example, if you consider the infrastructure, more than 1 million pieces were manufactured and inducted. Out of these 1 million, if about a few thousand have given some problem, is it a problem of manufacturing, quality control, or a problem of design? But the critics project it as if the design is wrong. I can challenge, INSAS was world's most thoroughly tested and tried small arms system. Okay, now coming back to the genesis
So if we stick to INSAS, are you trying to say that it was made to fail?
It was made to appear as if it is failed.
Okay.
I am saying if out of 1 million, only few pieces are failing or giving some minor problem, some kind of jamming of the spring or some leakage, certainly it is not a problem of design. It is a problem of quality control. Nobody questions that. Why? I am challenging anybody. Now, why was DRDO forced to give technology to only ordnance factories? Why not to private industry? So that's why with this question, I am going back to the genesis of DRDO. When in 1948, DRDO, rather Defense Science Organization, was supposed to be formed. Professor D.S. Kothari was appointed as the scientific advisor. Our country's political leadership conceived only advisory role for DRDO. There was no manufacturing, no laboratory, no research and development, just an advisory body. Why? Because our people, our top leaders, considered it prudent to seek advice from the same people who had ruled over us for so many years. And what was the advice given to us? The advice given to us by the Britishers was that India need not do any defense service because it is part of Commonwealth and we are there to take care of your requirements. So in any case, you are so poor, you have so many poor to be fed, you are hand to mouth, don't spend on defense services. We will take care. 1948 was the first major import of jeeps. Since then, there has been a saga of import, and whatever goes on along with that. I am not entering into that, controversy, what we feel called as scams and scandal. But matter of fact is that since then, the country has been importing and goes on importing and ends up becoming world's biggest importer of arms. Which country? We had in 1947 when we became independent, in spite of major chunk of our territory given away as Pakistan and now it's for Bangladesh. Even then, it is a huge landmark. It is a giant nation sitting on the world's most important trade route. The Indian Ocean, a major chunk of world trade takes place through Indian Ocean. Now the Indian Oceans were there, the mountains are there, the Tibet is there. So what new has come? Why again and again when the war takes place, why do we have to impose on emergency basis? Why not the people who are supposed to be planning are questioned? DRDO is not alone. It is part of the overall Ministry of Defense.
So, Mr. Gupta, are you trying to say that the policy makers were at fault and that fault is being passed on to DRDO?
Definitely. I am saying, yes, I am putting blame on the top policy makers right from the beginning, not just today. I am saying 1947 onwards. Which country will?
So all along that deliberately they wanted to rely on more imports rather than giving more
Exactly,
impetus to
exactly,
is it?
exactly so. And then what will happen? When you have importing in such huge quantities that a big country like India becomes world's biggest importer of ours, what are you creating? You are not creating security for yourself. You are spending our taxpayers' hard-earned money in purchasing the states. The countries, the companies which are selling you their arms, their weapon systems, platforms, aircraft, tanks, now they have big stakes. They have got a huge chunk of market. Nobody wants to lose market. World over, the real cause of war and conflict has been the economy. Everybody wants to capture the market. So conflicts are bound to arise. So what I'm saying is that when we are spending money in imports, we are actually purchasing insecurity for us.
So
We are purchasing turmoil for us.
the users, as you mentioned, have a complaint or allegation that DRDO takes decades to produce something like LCA. We give the example of LCA. So that is why we
Yeah.
had to go for imported hardware. I mean import of hardware.
Okay.
So how? What do you say on that? Like LCA took,
No.
I think three or more than 3 decades.
First of all, so let us take the example of LCS. Now, when LCS started, people say 1983. It is absolutely wrong. 1983, the government of India sanctioned a small project. 560 crore is not a big amount for aircraft development. It was not for development of aircraft. You take a look at the what does that project sanction letter say? It is to come out with a project proposal. It was to carry out a study that what can be done, where do we stand, what are the different technologies in the world, where will we, normally in aircraft development takes time, world over it takes a new aircraft whenever it is started, takes anywhere from 17 years to 25 years. That is the norm in around the world. Take up any country west to west. Now, that means, and its life is another for 20 years, so about 40 years you have to look forward. So, for carrying out all these studies, this small project was sanctioned. DRDO completed its report within 5 years. 1988, the report was submitted. The project program, proposal, everything was submitted to the government of India. Then what happened? Next 5 years, there is no decision. 1993, the project was, first of all, the government of India, the top decision makers, just chopped off the project. Instead of sanctioning in one go that, okay, yes, you have to go ahead, design, develop, and produce an aircraft, what was sanctioned was a small part of the project. Okay, we don't have a confidence on you. We don't know whether you can at all deliver an aircraft or not. So we are asking you to demonstrate the technology by making just 2 aircraft. Now, tell me, why the delay is not increased? You have not sanctioned the entire project. Who is to be blamed for that? Did you
So
sanction
this
in
was a
1988? No, 5 years.
so this was a half-hearted attempt by the government, is it?
Exactly. I would suggest people to read a very beautiful book written by our former scientific advisor, Dr. V.S. Arunachalam, who has given the details of how this project was with really great difficulty sanctioned and how much, kind of vested interest were trying to support the project sanction itself. Later on also, when the first flight took place in 2001, I tell you, it is on record. The Dr. George Fernandez was the defense minister, and he received a fax from some company, I don't know what company, but he got a fax from that company, a big multinational company, that this aircraft is going to crash. And Mr. Defense Minister, you are a responsible person, you must stop this flight at all. This flight should not take place. Fortunately for the country, the Defense Minister had confidence in DRDO. He flew to Bangalore. The flight took place. Since the first flight on 4th January 2001, there has been absolute safety as far as the flights are concerned. Without any incident, these flights have been taking place till date.
So-
Thousands and thousands of
So
flights have taken place.
are you suggesting that international manufacturers or international companies also had a role maybe in undermining DRDO?
Exactly. Why not? Why not? They are the biggest people who will be losers. They will lose their market. If DRDO comes up, if DRDO products comes up, and when they will come up, not just by design.
So they have been influencing the governments of India. Are you trying to say that?
I see that is something that how they are influencing, what are the mechanisms, whom they are influencing. This I cannot comment. But I will be talking on facts which are openly known. It is a matter of fact that somebody suggested to our defense minister not to allow this flight to take place.
So similarly,
It is a
this
fact that
another major project was that airborne early warning system, which also got delayed. So,
Yeah.
what do you say on that?
see, not only that project, I would say any new project. Whenever you do it for the first time, it is going to take time. Because as I said, 1947, when we got independence, our country did not have any technology base, any industrial base, no manufacturing base. Even as late as the 90s and current millennia, in my laboratory, for small gadgets like pH meters, if it has to be accurate, or accurate temperature controller, there was nobody in the country making it. I can tell you with certainty, for bulk of the journey, 1948 till date, DRDO technologies have been 2 to 3 generations ahead of the state of art in the country. You don't get even small gadgets. Everything you have to improve.
So, sir,
In that scenario, whenever a new system is designed, whether it is Agni, whether it is Prithvi, whether it is Tejas or Arjun,
I will come to the missile program. But first, I want to ask you about after 1974 nuclear tests. There were sanctions on India. So, did that impact our programs anyway?
Lot of sanctions. Somehow our decided, okay, we are here for peaceful purpose, nothing about that. Things went on, gradually started collecting. And in 1980, the first flight of the three missiles took place. Then came another bout of, I can tell very frankly, nobody is interested. The countries which were pressurizing us that to stop the missile program, to stop your nuclear program, they are not interested. They are interested in the. If they were interested in today, India has got a lot of nuclear problems. We have got plenty of rights. We are much better off as political strength is concerned. Why these countries are trying to do business? Now today there is no sense. There is no restriction. So if it was because of peace, they wanted peace in the world, they would not have been. This is my argument. They
So-
only want economic. They want India to become a. That is why. How many people know that in 2001, the private sector industry was really banned from making any. No private sector allowed to manufacture, let's say, infrastructure, or aircraft. I will ask why. The only reason was private players, they will be stronger. Once the country becomes stronger, we will be able to export products outside. Nobody wants. Pakistan does not have the ability to become a company. Nobody bothers about it. Right from the beginning, we heard that India has potential. So everybody wants. That's why the sanctions. We overcome that sanction. 1988, the missile technology the first stage only to subvert India. Nobody could stop us. At short time, we were able to come out with slowing. Next year, Agni. in spite of all those sanctions. Now, again, a big of sanctions came when in 1998, the Pokhran 2. That was a very, very serious program. Our teachers program suffered a lot because of it. Now,
So,
what has happened now? In spite of that, 1993, 2001, less than we were able to make out first strike. And since then, teachers is like, but where are the orders? 2001, we proved to the world that yes, India has capability to design and produce an aircraft, a world-class aircraft, generation aircraft, with all latest technology. Even the recently don't have all our Tejas has all coded wings.
Mr. Gupta, we are running out of time. Just last one question. The missile program has been a success. So, how do you what do you think are the reasons? Is it because that there were no international competitors, or why?
See, one very big reason for success of missile program has been the impossibility of import. I'm talking of the strategic missile program, that is Prithvi, Agni, and the K4 and the K15 series. These are strategic missiles. Whatever be the amount spent on by the country, no other country is going to sell these nuclear capable missiles. So since there was no imports, the missile program became a success. One more reason was the relatively better availability of funds. Right from 1948, when the DSO was formed, till date, and then when DRDO was formed in 1968, every year there has been a very severe shortage. Whatever is demanded, much less is given. And if you pick up the standing parliamentary committee reports, year after year they are agreeing that yes, there is a resource crunch, and therefore DRDO has to reprioritize. Now, what is the thing? So, priority setting once again, it's okay in 1 year or 2 years, okay. But if it is for 70 years for reprioritizing, what will happen? So somehow the government, the directive was to push through the strategic systems. So the fund availability was somewhat better. At the same time, the import was out of question. We have proved that yes, we have capabilities. Our strategic missiles are second to none. One of the best and highest accuracy is available in missiles like Agni 5 or the K15 or K4. Highly accurate. We have demonstrated our ballistic missile defense system. We have demonstrated our anti-satellite weapon system. It's a fantastic accuracy. Nobody is going to sell you an anti-satellite weapon. So since the import was not possible, we succeeded. We will succeed in every sphere if the imports are just shut down.
So we hope that DRDO comes up with more successes and becomes more successful in future. Thank you so much for participating in this debate. This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I will be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.